Yeah, wherever you are today and however you listen to the Call Me Mr. You, the podcast, good morning and thank you for joining us. Football Talk with Bo is here in the house. Good morning, brother.
Good morning. How are you
Yeah,
today?
if you ever see this on your screen on a Monday morning at 9 a.m. EST, this is a telltale sign it's going to be a long morning. But I think at the Big Yeti, you know what's going to happen. It's going to be serious business up in here today. But thank you again for joining us, wherever you are and however you're hearing our show. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Go change the world. All right, so we got a lot on our plate for today, but we're gonna have some fun with it. Bo, baby, how you doing, man? How was the weekend?
Good, good. It was a low key weekend. Had some friends over, hang out on the lake a little bit, and then
Oh,
it was a full day of football yesterday
on the lake.
on the lake.
Ain't you special?
Hey,
All
there's a
right.
lot of lakes here in Washington. It's still 80 degrees, so it's although not today. It is raining this morning, so my show prep today was a little bit different. I just had some coffee in the dark, listened to the rain. It was nice.
Coffee in the dark. Sound like a song from back in the 70s. I don't know what's going on there.
It's
But
peaceful.
man, look here. Look, there's a lot going on, man. But let's see if we can try to jump into this. Oh man, this episode is titled very well. Week 2 thoughts, prayers, hopes, and dreams. Apropos for what we're giving experience. But we had a couple of poll questions that you threw out there for us. I'll give you props where it's due, man. Great poll question. The first one was which 2-0 teams come back to earth in week 3? Which 2-0 teams come back to earth in week 3? And the second poll question you threw out, Bo, was do the Bengals need to panic after falling 0-2? I got way more reactions to that one than I did the first one. I don't know why, but it it went crazy. I do have a couple of 2-0 teams in now. So kind of, if you don't mind, Bo, bookmark that for us for the end of the show.
Yep.
I want to make sure we speak to that a little bit. I don't want to forget about it. So help keep me accountable on that stuff. A lot of stuff going on in the NFL world. The Vikings played the Eagles. Not much to talk about where the game was concerned. I kind of felt like, well, we'll come to that. But the Alexander Madison part, that was the part that got a lot of attention. There was some social media interaction with some fans from, I guess, on the Minnesota side of things. I mean, essentially, it was almost like assault on social media. The kind of words they were using, the expletives, the threats being made against his life and his family after a loss. That's pretty wow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I'm speechless.
it
Yeah, that's hard.
that stuff is crazy to me. I mean, at the end of the day, like it's a game, right? The Vikings aren't mailing you checks. If you gambled on it and lost, like that's on you. So it, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wanted him to do better. He was my running back in fantasy, but but I'm not going to go crazy because he didn't have a great game. I don't know. It's all of that kind of stuff is crazy. I mean, I understand that fan is short for fanatic, but I mean that is
Yeah, we know.
yeah,
But
it is over the top.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I just one of the things that I feel funny about for me is that it feels as though nobody's really doing anything about it.
yep,
It kind of feels like it's like a thing that we've come to kind of accept as normal. I'm like, is that what we're doing?
hmm
Is there nothing that social media can do about that? I mean, because it's somebody's social media account, if it's a burner or not. There
yeah,
should be something in place where you can address that and deal with it. No, nobody. NFL's like, we stand against that. It's not our policy. We reject this. We are
yeah,
opposed to this kind of behavior. And then social media's, we don't hear anything from them. Is
yeah.
that
I
is
mean,
that, is that our new normal? Is that what we're doing?
well, to be fair, like most of those are burner accounts, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you could start a burner account with a fake email at any time, right? So I mean, it's not like that would be hard to police, right? Because if somebody were to create one, right, at the beginning of the game or during the game, and then post some just stupid stuff all over the place, like they'll eventually get kicked out, but it takes some time, right? Because your company admins still have to find that account, and it's so small that nobody sees it yet. So, I mean, I get where the challenge would be, because those do get bounced out. I mean, think about your Twitter and how many random bots end up on your Twitter, every week, right?
Hey, don't remind me. Don't remind me. Yeah.
Well, but the thing is if one of those bots is just some jerk, then, because there's plenty of times that you'll end up with some comment on your stuff, and then you click on their profile and they have, one follower or whatever. And you're like, oh, okay, this is 100% just a troll account. Like all they do is go and comment stupid stuff because they know nobody can do anything about it. And then eventually it'll get flagged enough times that it's kicked. But at that point, they've already said all the dumb stuff.
You just feel like it's like, it can't be, there's nothing can be done. I mean, I got a bit of a tech background, but mine doesn't go that deep where I can say, oh, what if they do this will work. I'm not at that place in my tech career, but it got to be something, man, because this is like, wow. Free speech, I'm all for it. No, my dad fought and died for it. I'm all about the free speech, but man.
Yeah, threats are different though.
I'm like, we still doing this? I mean, even I learned in take some criminology courses in school or in college that that's considered assault. The words. Yeah. Battery is a physical act. Assault is actually, you have to say words out of your mouth and without any hands.
Yep.
Any use of hands, and it's considered assault. Those are assault charges according to criminology 101. So it's like you should be kind of pumped up to do something about that. But prayers go out to Mr. Madison and his family. Hope everybody's well and nothing's transpiring that we're not hearing about. Colorado. I want to go into college a little bit, but the whole melee. I mean, I was getting stuff on my notification on my phone. They hadn't even kicked off yet. It was like 9:05, and I was getting notifications about them having a scuffle midfield. They hadn't kicked off. They kicked off at 10:05, 10:10. I got people on my feed just telling me about how Dion he's coaching a bunch of thugs, and yeah, I gave him a little bit of props to that. I probably shouldn't have given him no credit for all the smack talk they were having with me over the past 48 hours. But they were talking about thug life and how Dion just coached a bunch of thugs, and everything that happened was, I'm like, there was some thugism if you want to go that route. This thugism on both sides of the field on Saturday night. It was a whole bunch of stuff going on that if you want to throw labels around and talk about somebody being a thug, it was a whole bunch of that stuff going on. Black and white players were out there with the thuggery on Saturday night. I'm like, wow, we still. I said, I persisted that after the Madison situation because I'm sensing a theme again. Like we still here in we still doing the same thing again. A player doesn't have a good game. We are attacking him with racial slurs and tell him to kill himself. And then you got players on the field. Both players in a rivalry game, which is heated to start with, because usually Colorado has one game in their belt, one win. Colorado State probably has more than that normally. So they used to beating up on these guys. And they came out here punch for punch with them. And now they got 3 wins. I don't know what Colorado State has. So it's already a rivalry heated to start with. Yep. All the extra ESPN coverage. You got First Chake and Pat McAfee out there. I mean, they ended up in Colorado State.
You had the coaches earlier in the week.
Matter of fact, I'm not even sure that Colorado State even ever had that kind of coverage before. So they're getting all the kinds of so that the anxiety and the angst is over there at a fever pitch already before you even get on the field. They're out here fighting before this game even starts, before they even as a kickoff. What's causing all this, man? Who's to blame for all of this stuff, man?
I mean, like in this case, yeah, I think there hasn't been media coverage, and then it's just been a circus around Dion this whole time. And, I don't really know what the plan was with saying, oh, when we talk to adults, we don't wear a hat and glasses. Like, I don't know what your end game there was. One of the
did you hear what he said afterwards?
Yeah, he tried to walk it back. Yeah, no, I know. But
He wasn't talking to Dion. He was talking to his players.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, you were talking about Dion. I mean, let's be real. So, I mean, probably like the best take I heard on that was actually Joy Taylor, because she was like, what is, like, how does that help, right? Like, at the end of the day, college football is about recruiting. How does this help you recruit, right? Saying stuff like that, it doesn't make any sense. So, and I agree with her in that way. It's just like, how does this help your program? All it did was create bulletin board material, create a more contentious environment that was already going to be heated anyway. It's a crosstown rival, right? So, I mean, you don't need to add elements like that to it. And then you get to the game, and it was dirty play on both sides. Obviously, that hit, was super uncalled for. And then, of course, you got, Sanders looks like he's busting out the Three Stooges poking the eye thing. So, I mean, like, right? Yeah. I mean, it was just, there was so much crazy about that game. So then it makes sense that it goes to overtime, and, it's just a circus the whole time. Like, there was nothing about that game where you're like, oh, this is amazing. Like, the whole time you're just like, man, this is a weird football game.
Absolutely. I mean, I saw the video clip. That's why who's at fault, because I'm trying to figure out where this all started from. Because the comments by the Colorado State coach, whose name is escaping me right now, but he start all this, or was it already going? Because I seen a video of Travis Hunter before the game. He wasn't even dressed yet, dancing around these boys and making comments, and I wouldn't say it was menacing, but he was, antagonizing them a little bit. This was before the game too. He was in shorts still. So it's like, wow, you're not helping the whole. I'm gonna say about the comments that I got on Twitter that you and I were discussing. Mm. I think they were derogatory. I think some of them were kind of a little bit race-based, if you will. I'm just being honest about it. If you guys listen to guys that made the comments, yeah, I'm still talking about you, and it's a fair assessment. Some of that is race-related. Your comments about Dion and the team. However, what I will say is this: if you play with discipline and you teach your players discipline, some stuff that happened in that game wouldn't happen.
For sure. It was a bad look on coaching and discipline as a whole, based on the amount of things that went off the rails in that game. But it definitely started with, Jay Norville's conversation with the media earlier in the week. Because, again, that's not something that needed to be said. And it's not something that should have been said. Even if you were conveying that to your team, do that. Convey it to your team. And keep it behind closed doors. Be like, hey, that's how they do it over there. That's not how we do it here. And that's fine. You can absolutely do that. But as soon as you involve the media and the circus that is surrounding Coach Prime and that program, man, like, you're just asking for a problem. And, so does it get some extra cameras on your school? I mean, yeah, but not for the reason you'd want. So I was impressed with how tight the game was, though. I mean, it was
335.
Yeah, it was a slugfest.
Absolutely. Dion's old team, Jackson State, got slaughtered. They got maligned at 77-34.
I mean, he did remove half their team when he left. So
I know. I thought they had these 3 more players left, because 77-34 is a lot. But it's neither here nor there. But yeah, like I said, I'm not happy with how things went from a discipline standpoint. I could use a new pair of glasses too.
Right? Hey.
That's great, but I mean, all the other stuff, unnecessary.
Yeah.
What about college, man? You have anything else you want to share about college? Any game that jumped out at you? I can talk about Michigan for a little bit, but I won't.
Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of college football this weekend.
Fair. That's okay. Guess what we do? We keep moving.
Yep.
Quick blurb about Michigan. We did get the W, 31-6. I'm concerned about our backup offense. 0 points. I'm concerned about that. Number 2. Number 1, I'm concerned about is our scoring in the fourth quarter. That's not going to work. We can come out the gate smoking. We've done it a couple of years in a row. Got Big Ten championships, off that effort. no question. But that fourth quarter scoring, got to keep that going. And usually, if you got a big lead and you're taking our starters out, those guys still have to score. It's kind of important,
Yep.
you know, to stave off a comeback of any sort. So, just a quick blurb there. Do you want to recap last week's Monday Night Football recap? I mean, we got Buffalo
Yeah.
and the Jets. You got the big story there. Aaron Rodgers, ACL. Night night. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it goes down 4 plays in. Kudos to the Jets for finding a way to win. I mean, it was less of them winning that game and more of Josh Allen giving that game away. But, I mean, three interceptions and a fumble. And, of course, 2 of those interceptions, like one of them was a good play, and 2 of them were literally just third down thrown punts, essentially. Like, he just hucked it down the field and hoped for the best. So, obviously good to see them bounce back this week. But yeah, that week 1.
He's hard to trust. He's hard to trust, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Honestly, he has a lot of that Brett Favre in him, where you're like, he's going to be exciting, he's going to win you some games, but he's also going to lose you some games. Like he's just going to go out and throw it to the other team sometimes.
That's not a compliment.
I mean, it is. I actually really enjoyed watching Brett Favre. He wasn't for my team or anything, but he was an exciting player to watch.
Because you knew that this could potentially happen, and it'd be for your sheer entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, he was always on the ragged edge, right? Like it was either going to be hero ball and awesome, or it was going to be a dumpster fire and hilarious.
Yeah, that game was nuts. That was the bad side of Josh Allen, the one that he promised would never come back again. Reared his ugly head again. All right, let's move on for that if we can, man. How about the Vikes and the Eagles, man?
Yeah, so that one
8:15 p.m. on TNF Prime.
Yeah, like that one there was the Vikings could have won that game. They absolutely could have won that game. And you can't even blame that one on primetime Cousins because, like I picked against him because I never trust Cousins in primetime. But Cousins was super efficient and had a good day. He was 31 of 44, 364 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, with that kind of stat line, you should be able to win a game. But the problem they had was they were able to rush for 28 yards, and they fumbled the ball 4 times.
That was the worst, man. And their protection sucked too, man. Cousins got sacked 4 times too.
Yeah, well, and their defense wasn't really doing anything. So that is a team that is in some serious trouble moving forward because that defense hasn't shown the ability to stop anybody, and the running game just, I mean, if you combine week 1 and week 2, they've been able to rush for 69 total yards.
It was really a sloppy game. Game started off with long drives, ended with field goal. It was definitely some ball control issues going on throughout. A lot of fumbling. It was rough. I mean, on the Eagles side of things, I mean,
it was still sloppy
identity, which I don't understand because I thought they had the identity last year when they were at the Super Bowl. I thought they already had their identity. Why are you trying to find it now? I'm missing something in that because it looked like they didn't know who they were. Hurst, hold on.
Yep.
Hurst, he wasn't in the field very well. Looked like he was not discerning what was happening out there. Really slow start, man. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't know what it is, but they kind of lost that swagger they had from last year. Like they walked into every game last year, like, yeah, we're here, we're gonna win, and they really haven't had that. And it's not like they're a worse team than they were last year. So that's the part I don't get is they were able to, with the things they lost, they were able to pretty much replace them. So I mean, it was something they should be able to continue on with, and they have
theoretically. Yeah, theoretically.
Yeah. But man, mentally, they just don't see. What's that?
The coaching's the same, right? Same coaches, I thought, right? Nobody's changed there, right?
Yeah, no. From what I remember, yeah, all the coaching's the same. They have most of their key elements, so I'm not really sure where this lack of confidence came from. But I mean, it shows up on the field, no doubt.
I mean, he looked like he was not really sure what to do. Like he was like a first-year quarterback. I'm like, no, we seen you ball out last year, so. Something was weird there. I'm not sure what that was, but DeAndre Swift, man, embracing the contact, man. Hard runner, elusive a little bit, 175 yards. He was crushing it out there.
Yep.
So, I mean, he even had a Hawkinson on the other side. Great mismatch, man. But Cousin couldn't give him the ball often enough to capitalize on that for obvious reasons. But good game to start off the week, man. Not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
How about the Packers and the Falcons, man?
Yeah, so I did not take the Falcons in that. But I mean, it's a game where I thought it was going to be a good game, and it was one where I just don't trust either team yet, right? Like I haven't seen enough out of either team, so I knew it was going to be a decent battle. I thought Green Bay was going to get the win out of it, but yeah, I mean, it was a game where neither one of those teams are doing anything this year. It's just kind of they're both teams that are building. So you're basically watching both teams for things that you're like, okay, this is something that we can grow from. And I would say both of them kind of did that, but it wasn't what I expected, but it kind of was.
Yeah. I'm not really sure who they both are yet.
Exactly.
I think I need more time. I mean, on the Green Bay side, they didn't have Watson, their number one guy, or Aaron Jones, the number one guy in the backfield. Lost some guys on the O-line. I think 2 guys on the left side of the line. I mean, and they were out there still going toe-to-toe with the Falcons. So that means were they both just that mediocre, or were this two semi-strong teams in a dogfight? Not really sure what the identity is just yet, but I tell you what, Bijan Robinson is for real.
That he is.
He is for real. That man was. I love the. I guess that's kind of my kind of running back. I love that blend of power and elusivity. I love that, and he had that in he had that in buckets, man. I mean, he was hitting these guys hard, and these guys were like, why did I make this business decision? Trying to tackle this guy, and then he was just juking them and just head figure. Like, this basketball or football? He was breaking ankles out there, man. It was like, wow. The Falcons got a gem on their hands with this guy, man. He had 124 yards on the ground, I think it was. Average 6.5 yards every time he touched the ball. I'm like, the Falcons got a nice little piece right there. You got to just get everything else together. Mm-hmm. I was watching Ritter because, you and I discussed him a couple of weeks ago or last week. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I'm just watching, like, man, I hope they got the right one, because the first game I wasn't so sure. Saw some nice things from him. I can't complain. I saw some good things. That pick, I didn't like that. But 237 yards in the air. There's room for improvement. But if you don't have a guy back there that's kind of like a senior, a veteran, and you kind of throw him out there, which is what they did, you got to expect this early on in the season, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a lot of sloppy football to start the year. Just overall.
Yeah. How about the Ravens and the Bengals? My goodness. Wow. Many people, myself as well, I had the Bengals going a lot deeper into the playoffs, even towards the Super Bowl. I had the Bengals in the Super Bowl, y'all. I don't feel good about that pick anymore. I know it's early, it's only 2 games, don't shoot the messenger, but I don't feel great about my prediction anymore, because I'm watching somebody who he must be hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, hurt before the second hurt that we just saw, where he hurt his calf and had to go out. So he's definitely hurt. But is he hurt to a degree that my prediction cannot come true, or is there still hope for the Bengals, man? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I had the Ravens in the Super Bowl, and I had the Bengals as a wild card. I had the Ravens winning that division, but
still feel good about that after yesterday's game?
I mean, it's just been sloppy football across the league, so I don't know that I feel good about any pick, really.
ODB got hurt yesterday, too. I want to say again, but I don't want to be rude. But
yeah,
again,
I mean, yeah, like
another injury.
It's Jamal Adams for the Seahawks, right? Like,
oh, come on.
I mean, it's just he's going to be hurt the whole time. Like, he's going to come in, he's going to do half a dozen electric plays, and then he's going to, cash a check and watch football with the rest of us.
This feels different than what I'm talking about. This feels kind of more personal. Like, are you saying Jamal out here trying to get free money and just get checks? That what you're saying?
No, not intentionally.
Oh,
like he wants to play.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, if you get hurt, you get hurt. So
I didn't hear that in my ear. It's kind of different in mine, but okay.
But on the Bengals end, this is where you're worried. So if you started 0-2, you can overcome that. But
I agree.
He missed a lot of preseason because of a calf injury, right? Mm-hmm. When he pulled it, he had a sleeve on it already, and a compression sleeve. He pulled it and then misses most of preseason. Obviously, isn't going to be amazing and lighting it up because he just didn't have that timing with the rest of his group. We don't like Bo this morning. That's awesome.
Why don't we like Bo this morning? I'm sorry, I think I might have missed that part. Why don't we like our friend?
but so where if I'm a Bengals fan now, this is where I'm worried is he is re-injured the same calf at the end of this game. Okay. If he's not, if it's not just a ice bath away and he's back on the field and good to go for next week, you start a season 0-3.
Yeah,
that is a really different animal. That is tough to overcome to make the playoffs, even as a wild card. That's a tall order, especially in the AFC.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Now, Seahawks and Lions. Do you want to touch this, man? Do you want to leave it alone?
Yeah, no. I'll talk about it.
We ain't got all day.
Yeah, it'll be quick. So I actually had the Lions in this game.
Okay, I knew that.
So it was. I really liked what Seattle did going into a game where they knew they had a real problem with the offensive tackle situation. Right, one of them's on IR, one of them wasn't playing. You had backups in. So it was not going to be an ideal situation there. So they ran some 3 tight end sets so that they had some extra blocking up front. So, I mean, their scheme for this game was actually really nice. Geno was efficient, like you come to expect from Geno at this point. And, they were able to move the ball around. The defense was kind of what you thought it would be, with so many, they had 3 different linebackers that were hurt, a defensive end that was hurt. So you knew that things weren't going to be great. Woolen leaves during the game. So the middle of the field was similar to the way it was last week. And so Goff was able to exploit that to some degree, but they were able to move some things around to get some stops when necessary. And then obviously it goes to overtime. They get the ball, score first, and it's over. But it was a really good game. I mean, they played each other really tough last year too. They scored 93 points combined last year, and it was still kind of a high-scoring game this year. Obviously, not to that effect, but yeah. I mean, overall, it was a good game. There was a lot of things schematically that Seattle did to try and hide their deficiencies, and so I liked seeing that.
Do you think that's something they can continue to do for the rest of the season?
Yeah. So against a team like a Detroit, or when they go and play the Panthers, stuff like that. Some of those mid to lower tier teams you can do stunts like that. I think when you play some of the better defenses, when you go against the Eagles and the Cowboys and the Niners, I don't know that holds up against that level of talent, but against your mid to low teams, you can absolutely use stunts like that, and it'll work to some degree against good defenses too. But if they know it's coming, they can plan for it.
Okay. That's going to be something to watch. Definitely love the walk off by Tyler Lockett. That was my old fantasy football guy, boy. They would let him fall. They would let him fall in the draft. Yep. And I would just grab him every time. Like, keep giving him to me. He would help me out so much, man. As long as he's healthy, I always got some production from him. Somebody else in the fantasy world got it today. Walk off touchdown yesterday.
Some of the most sure-handed catches ever.
Absolutely. Chiefs and Jaguars. I don't want to spend a lot of time here, but man, early season special team issues again. I'm like, this team frustrates me. It's not my team. It's my grandson's team. Allegedly, he changes teams every year. Now he's a Chiefs fan. Not sure what that's about, but They frustrate me because they keep on riding on this, essentially riding on Mahomes. There's areas that they don't really seem to fix and address, like special teams. You can lose by special teams, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's like, and yet you're still trusting Tony and Sky. I'm like, wow, these guys aren't sure-handed. Clearly, big plays, ball control issues. Sometimes they do great. Make a catch, yak after the catch, great. Then you got times in the stretch where you can't trust them. You got MVS on the team still, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. You got the rookie from Texas, Rashee Rice. And then you got my boy from the Giants and from the Niners, Richie James, or Richie James, excuse me. I'm about to say Rick James. No, not Rick James. Richie James, not Rick James. I mean, and still have held the Jags to 9 points.
Yeah.
This what a frustrating team they are for a Super Bowl champion, because you see them do so much ugly stuff and they still get a win out of it. It just ain't right. But
yeah, I mean, it was just an ugly game all around. Both teams. I didn't like what I saw out of both teams. Both those teams probably would have lost to half the league last week if they wouldn't have played each other. Like they probably would have both lost. So yeah, I didn't love any part of that game really. Like it was just really sloppy, ugly football. I'm really hoping going into week 3 we start seeing some better ball, because man, the first 2 weeks have been rough.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Colts and Texans. I'm not gonna stay here long. I just want to make a quick point about something you and I were talking about. I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Richardson went out with a concussion.
Yep.
How'd that happen? As a runner, right?
Absolutely.
Scored twice and then got concussed.
Yep.
This is the moment that I feared.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that Jonathan Taylor had a valid argument for wanting to be paid. As told, I can't speak against that. I don't have the credentials to do so. Fine. But if he was there, this issue might not have happened. Mr. Irsay, can you see that? Your quarterback had 2 jobs. He was a quarterback and a running back, and now he's concussed. Who knows when he'll come back next week?
Not
we
usually.
Don't know. Huh? Exactly.
Not usually.
So at least maybe a couple of games, maybe. You know, it's like
I would imagine at least one, right? Because usually you don't get back from concussion protocol in the same week. Usually you end up missing a game. You know, and you know, the one thing I will say on that though, kudos to Richardson in recognizing that he was having those symptoms and self-reporting. So, I mean, at least it was that, right? Because he had that hit before the second score, I think it was, or maybe it was at the second score, and then the next series it was 3 and out, and then he ended up tapping out for the game. And you know, it's a benefit to the Colts that they have Minshew, right? Like he was able to come in and finish that game out. I would bet that Minshew is the starter for next week, though.
Of course he is. What they got? Easy.
Well, I mean, the big thing is I just don't think he'll be back from concussion protocol.
He's not. Shout out to Nico Collins from University of Michigan. 146 yards, 7 go blue. I love it. All right. Chargers and Titans.
Yes.
I want to talk about something else more than the game itself, so I'm trying to jump off of the game really quickly, though. But something's not right with the boats. I don't know if you saw a bit of the. I saw little bits and pieces. Last year it was 7-5 in 1-score games. Last year, 1-0 in OT. So I thought it was going to OT for sure. I had to go find the stat, but something's weird. In Herbert's production this year, I don't know what's going on, but something's. They always had talent, in my opinion. They added more with Quentin Johnston, but they always have talent. But something's weird with Herbert. I'm not sure but the production's going down from the quarterback position since last year. And I don't really know what's going on with that, but I had the numbers, but I lost some of the numbers. But I had the one from last week and this week. 23 for 33 for 228 yards and a touchdown. That was week 1. This week was a little bit more because it was a little bit more of a dogfight. He threw 38 times for 305 yards and 2 scores. But it definitely went down. But what I want to talk about is not so much the game, because it kind of is what it is, but I had a question about this 4th-year quarterback debate, kind of a Burrow versus Herbert. Both came out of the 2020 draft. Pretty even, I guess, as far as numbers go. I think Burrow had the edge in touchdowns and I think less interceptions. But what do you think about these two guys? I mean, they came out NFL at the same time, both in their fourth year. They both probably gonna get paid. Burrow already got his money. I think Herbert is definitely due to get his if he hasn't. I don't think he has yet, so I think he's ready for that. Who do you like out of these two guys, man? Long term. I'm talking about just the highest upside.
So long term, I'll take Herbert.
Why?
For no other reason than Burrow gets hurt. So that's one of those. If you can have similar numbers, then I will take Herbert because your best ability is availability, right?
Fair. So, the talent is out there for both of them. Do you think it's still Herbert long term?
Yeah, and again, only because of Burrow injury history and injured again. Where Herbert is held back is coaching, near as I can tell, because Staley is supposed to be a defensive coach, and they have one of the worst defenses for whatever reason, because on paper they shouldn't. So that's where it's kind of yeah, Herbert and Tua also. Yeah, I mean they all have very similar numbers, but the problem is Tua is also injury prone, especially when he was in college. So I mean, like, that's just continued on. But Herbert tends to stay healthy. I mean, I think that Herbert is going to take that next step when Staley gets fired this year.
Okay, we'll go ahead and cancel that debate. I was thinking about it for next week, but we'll go ahead and cancel it now. All right. All right. Help me out here, bro, because I can't spend too much time here. We got our power rankings coming up, so I got to talk about the Giants and the Cardinals. I was trying to find ways to avoid this conversation and move on to the Commanders and the Broncos, but yeah, we're not doing that. Okay, so initially, here's my initial thought was, you know what? We're in the second quarter. We've been outscored 60 to goose egg. Yep. Historic numbers going in the negative direction. Mm-hmm. Our D-line was supposed to be our strength, supposedly. We had, oh man, I think it was like Arizona already had like 100 plus yards and a sack in the first quarter. We were scored for 6 quarters, 60 to nothing. First time since 1934. I wasn't bored. I wasn't even a thought. As a matter of fact, my mother wasn't either.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sitting here watching this game. I'm like, okay, now I know if you watch the game, you know what happened, but let me stay here for a sec. All right, so I got questions about so many things. I mean, all the pre-snap penalties. It was so much of that. I'm like, wow, are we having a problem with communication? I mean, because I got guys on Twitter that's trying to roast me, talking about we don't have any talent. That's why I'm like, I disagree. I don't care what you say. Call me a homer, whatever. We do have talent on this team. We are not the least talented team in the NFL. I can find some other ones that have less talent than we do. We have talent. So I ignored and dismissed every time somebody said we didn't have any talent. I didn't pay no attention. Didn't respond back. It wasn't worthy of a response back. But we have talent. It's not that can't be the issue. Is it mental? Because you got guys on the side. I mean, Andrew Thomas didn't play yesterday, on the sideline smiling while we getting roasted out here by Josh Dobbs. He's smiling. I'm like, dude, what you smiling about, man? Is today payday? Why are you smiling? I didn't understand that.
Every game day is payday.
that was a problem for me. And then it looked like they were kind of just going through the motions, dragging, not enthusiastic. I'm like, it's a mental issue. It's a coaching, because it's not a talent issue. Don't come my way about talent. I don't want to hear it. Mental or coaching. It's one of those, right? That'd be something.
Yeah.
Going to halftime and then boom. What happened? In 2 games, they had no sacks and no takeaways. That's still a bad situation. I want to blow the defense up, no question. But came back from 21 points deficit, 21 points down. Yeah. First time since what? 1949 or something. I don't know, something
something
like
like
that.
that. Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous what happened. Like, what happened during halftime?
Yeah. I mean,
What happened?
the thing is this is where I have some worry for your teams, right?
Tread lightly, sir. Tread carefully.
No.
My
It's a
coffee.
legitimate concern.
All right.
Is yeah, you guys came back, right? Which great, you got to beat who's in front of you, but the Cardinals are slated to be the worst team in the league, right? And I mean, you had to mount this huge comeback against a team that, let's be honest, isn't going to be great. I mean, last week, their quarterback was the first snap of the game was the first snap in a Cardinals uniform. So, I mean, it's not like he has great continuity with his team either. So, I mean, that's my concern for the Giants is if you're sneaking by, man, that could be a tough road. Now, maybe halftime, they're like, hey, let's reset and go. And maybe the second half is every bit what they're going to be. But I have some real concern for your team over the next couple of weeks if that's the kind of performance these first 2 weeks that we're going to see. Now, I'm glad they came back because I took the Giants in my survivor pool. And
well, I'm glad things worked out for you. Great. Yeah,
I mean, it did. So, thanks for that. I was a little worried at halftime, though. I was just like, oh, well, I guess I'm out of this league real early.
Anyway, aside from Bowls of fantasy football infatuations,
I got talked into playing this year. I actually never played, but
they didn't have to work that hard, I'm sure. But so I put a video out there on Twitter. I'm ready to blow the whole team up yesterday. I was extremely ticked off. I'm ready to blow up the whole team.
Yep.
And I think everybody expects me to come on this show and take back everything I said, right? Because that's what you do. You overreact. You go crazy out in the moment. You come back and you change your mind, right? You backtrack, right? That's what you want me to do, right?
I don't think you have a lot to backtrack, though. There's a lot.
I'm not backtracking nothing that I said. Not like one single solitary word. The only thing I will backtrack is that I'm gonna use a little less explosive than what I planned, because I don't want to blow up the offense because I don't think we had a chance to see what they are yet. Because all the issues on the O-line, specifically that, and I think that we can fix that with some different personnel, not the same guys that we have. I don't like what's happening, but the defense and the coaching, I got me big problems with that. There's 3 coaches I want gone right now, and they're not named Dayball. I want all of them gone. I never advocate somebody losing their job because I lost my job before. It's not a good feeling to lose your job, to get walked out of a building, especially a government building. Anyways, but I don't want that. But those 3 guys got to go. And as far as I'm concerned, that the defense, we got all these guys that we paid his talent. I don't see nothing happening. No sacks and no takeaways in 2 games. Yeah, I don't think so. You got to go, man. You ain't getting the job done. And some of these coaches that are on the defensive side, on the offensive side, the OC, Kafka, special teams, and some other stuff, I want to blow it up. So I'm not even delusional about the win yesterday. We did what we did. Daniel Jones did something that was historic that nobody's going to talk about.
Yep.
He's done something that hasn't been done since Michael Vick in 2010, I think it was. 250 plus yards, worth for 50 plus yards, multiple touchdown passes, worth for a touchdown, no turnovers in the second half. That hasn't been done in over a decade. By the guy they compare him to, call him Vanilla Vick. That hasn't been done since Michael Vick.
Yeah.
So that's a huge statistic that you can't take your eyes, you can't ignore that. I don't care who's against.
Yeah, I mean, it gets overshadowed by the 6 quarters, 60-0, right?
Absolutely. But we got to keep moving, man. I was going to talk about the Commanders of the Broncos, but we don't have time for that. What I will say is this, though. Congrats to Russell Wilson, man. First player in NFL history to score 40,000 passing yards. So I say score, excuse me. To have 40,000 passing yards and 5,000 rush yards. Nobody's done it in NFL history except Dangerous.
Yep.
So
Yep.
thanks his time in Seattle for a lot of that because he got most of that production from there. So
for sure.
Pretty competitive game. I got to see some of it here locally, which was a blessing. Denver defense looked really good. I think Wilson got his deep ball back, so that's going to be nice to see.
That Hail Mary was hilarious. So that thing bounced around a bit before getting caught, and then then coming up short on the 2-point conversion to tie it up. But if you're a Denver fan, you can't be excited about what you're seeing though.
Okay.
I'll just leave it at that. You can't be excited about the product you're getting.
Copy that. All right. I ain't got none of the Dolphins in the Pats. I think the Pats got something good going on, but the past 2 games, like, man, you're not putting it together.
Yep.
Big expectation tonight for the 2 games we got for Monday Night Football. We got the Saints and the Panthers and the Browns and the Steelers. Any quick thoughts about that before we go to our power rankings? Any excitement in you at all?
Yeah, so, I mean, the Browns and the Steelers, I think, are going to be – that'll be interesting because the Browns need this to keep pace with the Ravens, and the Steelers need this to show that week 1, they're not as bad as they looked.
Fair enough. Well,
the other game, I think the Saints should win.
They should. All right. So we're going to do our power rankings. We're going to jump into all these comments that we got out here. We got to definitely talk about some of this stuff. It's a lot of comments. I have some questions about some of what people are saying. But, okay. So how you want to do the power rankings, man? I got mine. You want to just run them off? How you want to do this? You want to do them one for one?
Go ahead and do yours, and then I'll do mine.
The whole thing?
Yeah, there's only 10, right?
Only 10. Listen to this guy over here. How much time do you think we got, man? All right. So,
I mean, looks like we got 13 plus minutes, right?
You go back from 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
Just 1 to 10 is fine. 1 to 10 is fine.
All right. Well, the first one I got is the 49ers. Dominant D, excellent blocking. I like him so far. I've seen nothing to change that. See what happens next week against the Giants. Well, this week. Yeah, today's Monday. Yeah, Thursday. All right. 2, got the Chiefs.
Okay.
Kelsey and Jones are back, so I like what things are trending. Keep your eyes on Sky Moore and Tony because they're supposed to be catching passes, and that's not what's happening. 3rd, Eagles. Slow start against Minneapolis, but it could be a little bit of rust, but we'll see. 4, I'm going with the Dolphins. There, elite speed in the offense, scoring almost every possession, which is really good. Defense needs some work, so we're watching out for that. 5, give it to the Cowboys. Great performances both weeks. Defense is coming in strong, big time, speed on defense. Dan Quinn got a squad out there, so that's really good. 6, Ravens struggled against Houston, which it shouldn't have happened, but it did. They're learning a new system under Monken. So we got ODB got injured, which I didn't add until yesterday. 2 injured O-line guys, 2 injured DBs, along with Marlon Humphrey. So LJ had to do a lot of stuff on his own, but he did pretty incredible against the Bengals. 7, Bills. Careless passes and ball security issues. It could be a Super Bowl caliber team, but sometimes they're having some issues there. The O-line is not really protecting. So we got some issues there, but Josh Allen had a 4 TD comeback yesterday. So Lions dropped them by a couple of points after last night's game or yesterday's game. All around great play, man. I like Gibbs and Laporta. Matter of fact, I like Campbell and Branch too. Lost in a dogfight to your boys, the Hawks. 9, the Browns. I bought them in from, I think they were at 12 for me. Brought them into the top 10. Strong defense, held the Bengals to 82 yards in the air, which is not easy to do when you got somebody who got a cannon like Burrow. Blitzed about 53% of the time. Shut out in the first half. Had a Burrow at, I think, 2.6 yards attempt. And I had Jaguars fall a few spots to 10. Strong performance with some challenges at running back. I'm not sure about Bigsby. I'm watching him. I don't think he's the future, but we're watching to see what happens there. Where Ridley is for real. He's a real talent. But playing strong defensive teams could cause them some problems. Could have some offensive miscues and stuff going on. And they're having to escape games. 10. 49ers, Chiefs, Eagles, Dolphins, Cowboys, Ravens, Bills, Lions, Browns, and Jags. Go. Okay.
All right. So I have most of the same teams and some of them in the same places. So I have the Niners at 1, right? That defense is no joke. I got the Eagles at 2. They look sharp in moments. So they're a little bit inconsistent, but they're doing enough. They're doing enough. This third one is it's tough to even write this down. I got the Cowboys at 3. That defense.
Oh my God.
That defense is no joke. So give it to them. The offense is doing enough, and that defense sharp. I got KC at 4. I haven't liked what I've seen out of either game really. Now they have enough talent; they're going to win a lot of games. They're going to be in the mix, but they're not the dominant fixture that we're used to seeing. There's a lot of sloppy play. Now, obviously, that'll probably change as the year goes on. But after the first 2 games, it's like, ooh, man, they got some things to fix. Then I have the Dolphins, elite speed. They need some help on defense, but and if they could go get one of these running backs, I think it would help them out. Then I have the Ravens, Bills. Then got the Browns coming in there. They have not looked sharp, but they are getting you see flashes of what they should be.
Right,
so
right.
Then I have the Lions. Like you, I knocked them down a couple of spots after the loss last night, or yesterday morning, I should say. And then I have the Saints sneaking in at 10 because I have not liked what I've seen out of the Jags. Same with the Bengals. The Bengals fall off my list just because, again, now you have Burrow hurt again. They have not looked particularly sharp. They're 0-2 at this point. They don't look like any kind of world beater. They don't even look like a division beater at this point. So, I got the Saints sneaking in. Obviously, that one could change a little bit after tonight's game. But I fully expect the Saints to put that one away.
All righty. Well, you go through this every week, right? Power rankings every week?
Absolutely.
I like this. Okay, let's do that. All right, so real quick before we go into our comments and close our show out, I've been trying to do this for about a month now. I haven't been able to get it, but let's do a rapid fire rookie watch, okay? I've been watching some of these guys that have come in, and I don't normally see that on any show, really, so I kind of feel like we're innovators in a sense. But from quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end, I want to ask you rapid fire who you're most excited about. It's not really a game, so no game music this time, just some thoughts from you guys, but from you. But okay, let's start with the quarterback.
Yep.
Let me give you 3 there. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson. Who are you most excited about and why, real quick?
Anthony Richardson, I would say he's going to be a more entertaining guy to watch. I also think that outside of him being concussed at the moment, I think he has one of the better offensive lines out of the 3, so he's going to end up with a little more opportunity than the other guys probably will. I think the other guys are going to be wildly inconsistent. Not that AR isn't also, but he's got that running element that's going to save some of his game for him. So I'm going to go with AR on that.
Copy that. Running back, got 3. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, or Kendre Miller?
Bijan. You watch the film on that. Dude's a stud.
All right. We are going toe-to-toe so far, man. So it's good. Wide receiver most excited about? Quentin Johnston, Rashee Rice, Jordan Addison, or Zay Flowers? Give you 4 that time.
So I'm actually going to throw in JSN for this.
No.
Yep.
You can't do that.
Especially since Zay Flowers didn't even show up.
This is not an episode of Homerville. I know you like JSN because he's on your team. No,
it's not that.
No,
he creates separation.
I know you like JSN. You love him because he's on your team. I get it. Pick from the 4 guys I gave you, please, sir.
All right, say the 4 again.
You didn't even hear him.
I did, but I chuckled when you got to Zay Flowers.
With JSN.
No. As soon as you got to Zay Flowers, I started laughing because he did not have a good day.
Quentin Johnston, Rashee Rice, Jordan Addison, or Zay Flowers?
Oh, Addison. Yeah.
All right. What a homer.
Yeah. Now, it wasn't Zay Flowers' fault.
Oh, brother. Okay, good stuff. Tight end, last one. Sam Laporta, Michael Mayer, or Dalton Kincaid? That was a hard one for me, too, but I have my answer, though.
Probably Laporta.
We good, man. We went almost the whole thing. I had somebody different at wide receiver, but only because I feel like he's going to get used more. I had Zay Flowers only because, not because I think he's better than everybody else. I just feel like he's going to be used a lot more in that offense than everybody else is in theirs, respectively. That being said, Addison's getting a lot of love from Kirk Cousins, which is great when you got everybody crowding up on Jefferson. But we'll see how it turns out. But Ricky Watts got done fine after a month.
Hey.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. So we got a little time for our comments. Excuse me.
Get your poll question.
A lot of comments. So here are our poll questions first. Right? Here are the poll questions that we had. First one was which 2-0 teams come back to earth in week 3? That's our first poll question. And then the second one was, do the Bengals need to panic after falling 0-2? What do we have going on so far? We got some comments from John on our Twitter page. What's up, John? Good morning. Happy Monday. John says no because they were 0-2 last year. They are traditionally a team that starts out slow and then they heat up in the middle and end of the season. Okay. That's a fair. It's only been 2 games, so we got to keep perspective, definitely. Michael from Twitter. Good morning, Michael. Happy Monday. He says, I believe so, and it seems Burrow may have tweaked his calf. So in Michael's mind, it's time to panic. Wow. Are we there? Are we in panic mode?
I mean, it's the injury that makes you worried, right? Like if he was 100%, you'd be like, you know what? Exactly like the first comment. Starts out a little slow, gets better as the year goes on. But if he's tweaked himself, then that could be a problem.
Yeah. Leanne from Twitter. I cannot read all the things that you have typed and shared with us because I don't use that language per se. So, but you're definitely upset about the crappy level of play, and you want to see changes happen fast. A lot of Bengal fans feel exactly the same way. You guys got talent just on the wide receiver side alone with Higgins and Chase. You got weapons out there, and as a matter of fact, in the backfield too, which we didn't hear anything from yesterday for the most part. So there'll be some work to be done in Cincinnati. Absolutely. All right. 7 days. Cool name, brother. You don't need to panic being 0-2. They should panic because Joe aggravated the injury that kept him from all of the preseason. He had a couple of months to heal and did not. That's an issue.
Yep.
Wow. What do you think, Bo?
I mean, exactly that. Yeah. Okay. I mean, if there's going to be a problem, that's it.
All right. You find out that we don't like Bo this morning, and I'm like, why? What did Bo do that we don't like? Well, I found the answer out. We don't like Bo because he was bragging about drinking coffee next to a waterfall or whatever, and I'm already at work, and the customer has lied to me already. So, Bo,
I mean, it's a waterfall from the sky, though. Like, it's not.
I feel like you missed the point, Bo. The whole point
no, I
of that.
got you. He's at work. So am I. I'm in front of everybody. I had to be up for hours before we got here.
No, sir. You're in a scenic location, enjoying the ambiance, this idyllic lifestyle that you got going on right here, and you're talking about that. People out here grinding in the streets in industrial industry, out here grinding, and you sitting here with coffee by a waterfall. How do you think we're going to go over?
It's rain. You could have rain there too. In fact, in about a month, you probably will.
We already do. I don't know about where Herb is, but we already have. We had it yesterday. All right. I'm thinking this comment is about Colorado. It has to be. So the coaches help the game get way more emotional than it may have been. Yeah. I mean, the comments that we heard about the glasses and the hats, that was going to definitely be bulletin board material. So that definitely cranked it up. But at the end of the day, too, if you're not teaching them discipline and poise, what are you going to do when you play a team like, for example, maybe Oregon, who might just beat you, professionally beat you rather than all the physical underhanded tactics, just beat you on the field? how you gonna respond?
Yeah, I mean, and this is where coaching clearly has changed a bit. Because if you were to do not all the things they did, if you were to do any one of the things that happened on that field, you know, the coach would have grabbed your face mask and been like, "What are you doing?" Right?
That's how it used to be. What happened to that?
Yeah, that game needed that. That game needed that in the first 5 minutes of the game. They needed somebody to grab that face mask and be like, "Get it together," right?
I don't think he's that kind of coach.
I don't know that any of them are allowed to anymore.
Why not?
You're gonna hurt someone's feelings and get sued.
Really? Oh, wow. All right, let's move on from that. Is Josh Allen a top 5 quarterback? Great question from the Herb and Raj podcast. We love you guys. These guys are coming on your YouTube channel every Tuesday evening at, I believe, it's 7 p.m. CST, so 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I guess it'd be 4 o'clock your time, bro. Yep. Is Josh Allen a top 5 quarterback? I say no. What say you?
Top 5.
That's a toughie.
I could see it. I could see him in the top 5.
You can see that?
Yeah, I mean, so it's tough because when he isn't doing dumb stuff, he is absolutely elite. And then you have those games like the opening weekend where he turns the ball over 4 times. So, I mean, I mean, you can't discount the talent. So he may not always have top 5 decision making, but just as a quarterback overall, yeah, he's probably a top 5 talent.
That's a toughie. I have him there, but he's just there.
Yeah.
I got Mahomes, and I'm even giving Lamar the love he deserves. Jalen Hurts. Okay, right now, Herb and Raj, he's a top 5 for us. Love to hear you guys top 5. If you have somebody other than our top 5 with Allen in it, post it on our Twitter page so we can go ahead and talk about it a little bit. All right, so Love Robinson, he ended up in a great place. Absolutely. That man did work yesterday. He laid the smack down on the Packers yesterday. All right, so happy about Jordan Love. Burrow is fine. His wallet's weighing him down when he's on the field. Big money. All right, Ravens win the division, but Bengals going further in the playoffs. All right, so that was kind of like what I had. So I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll see. Somebody else had the Lions too. Not just you, bro.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this comment I don't quite understand, Herb and Raj. JT is why I was fearful for Richardson on that team. Absolutely. And look what happened.
Yep.
As a runner, he got concussed. Not as the quarterback, as a runner.
Yep.
It's something to think about. I don't even know where you're going with that one. I'm gonna leave that one alone. What would that be?
I'm not sure.
I love our friends.
Absolutely.
Wait a minute. Urban Water Pockets. I like how the Cardinals are disguising their tanking by getting the lead in every game and letting the other team come back. Disguise. Okay, man. I don't know. The 49ers look tough. Love that. All right, last comments for Bo look like, oh my goodness. If my guy isn't listening, I'm not listening. You ain't lying. That's exactly what Bo did today on this show. And
again, it was flowers because he just didn't do anything. He had nothing on that stat sheet.
I mean, come on, man. JSN got stellar numbers the past 2 games too.
Stellar?
Yeah.
No.
The answer's no to that. No, of course not.
Like they were fine.
You're letting him play right now. Come on, man. Don't do that. I don't think he's even the best rookie in that group I just gave you. We don't know that yet. I think Jordan Addison is better than him right now, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Well, that's why I said Addison.
No. You got drawn into saying Addison. You didn't do it by yourself. You had help. Me.
Well, I like what I'm seeing out of JSN. So, like, 2 things can be true.
Wherever you are today and have you listened to the Communist to You, the podcast, we thank you again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Your weekly mentor.
Other shows, my mystery Christmas over there laughing anyway.
Also, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and of course the Twitter. Oh, I can't finish my closing. Like, share, subscribe. Have a great day, guys. Happy Monday.
Take it easy, guys.